Good morning. I am recording this lesson right before I go in for surgery just because I needed something to do to take my mind off of my nerves. So we're going to get started with lesson M2. Again, today I need you to get a paper copy so that you can take notes as we go along. Moving on with solving systems of equations, but now in this case we're going to do it by substitution. If you ever get stuck, I want you to come back to this page because it has the steps and what you need to do for substitution. You've got step 1 where you have to solve for a variable in one of the equations and then substitute that same variable in the other equation and solve the resulting equation. If you go to the next page, you'll be able to see exactly how this. So if you go here, do you see how both of these say that y equals something? Now, in the past, we said that there was something called the transitive property. And that was saying if Ashley is 5 feet tall and Molly is 5 feet tall, then we can make an assumption. And at the end of that assumption, if Ashley equals 5 feet and Molly equals 5 feet, then we could set Ashley equal to Molly, and we could assume that they are the same height as each other. I don't know if that'll help you, but that's something that we've done in the past. So if you notice here, it says y equals negative 4x plus 20, and y equals negative 2x plus 10. So what I'm going to do is in this first equation, I'm going to take what y equals, and I'm going to put it into the second equation. I'm substituting that in for y. Since y equals negative 4x plus 20, I'm going to assume that that's going to equal negative 2x plus 10. I'm going to set them equal to each other since they're both solved for y. Then I'll go through the solving process. So I'm going to get all of my x's on one side. I'm going to add 4 x's to each side, which leaves me with 20 equaling 2x plus 10. Subtract 10 from both sides. So 10 equals 2x, divide by 2. And in this case, x equals 5. Now I'm not completely done yet. I've found what x equals, but what I'm still missing is what y equals. So we have to fill in this blank before we're done. Well, if x equals 5, I can take this value right here and plug it into either of these equations up here. To figure out what y equals, I'm going to do negative 4 times 5, what I just found for my x down here, and add 20. So in this case, y equals negative 20 plus 20, or y equals 0. Plug it in for the next one. Negative 2 times 5 plus 10 would also give me 0. So in this case, when x equals 5, y equals 0. Moving on to the next page, since they're both already solved for y, we can set them equal to each other. So negative 6x minus 4 equals 5x minus 4. So again, go ahead and solve. Plus 6x plus 6x. Negative 4 equals 11x minus 4. If we add 4 to both sides, get 0 equals 11x. Divide by 11, divide by 11, and 0 divided by 11 gives us 0. So we've solved for x, but we're not done yet. We still need to figure out what our y equals. So once we've filled it in, we can be done. So I'm going to take this x equals 0 and plug it in up here. So y is going to equal negative 6 times 0 minus 4, which would give us 0 minus 4, which is negative 4. So in the first one, we got y equals negative 4. The second one, we'll plug it in. 5 times 0 minus 4, which is 0 minus 4 again, which is negative 4. So we can fill it in down here, and we are done. Okay, now when you move to this next page, you're going to see that only one of them is solved for y. So what you're going to end up doing is, since this is what y equals, instead of having a y right here, I'm going to plug this in for y. So I'm going to take the second equation, 2x, plus 3 times, I'm going to put in what y equals. Y equals 3x minus 9. And that equals 28. So the only thing that I changed in this second problem is to substitute in what y actually is. Then I'll go through the solving process. You don't want to forget to do the distributive property. So we've got our 2x plus 3 times 3x is going to give us 9x, and 3 times negative 9 would give us negative 27 equals 28. We'll combine our like terms. We've got 11x minus 27 equals 28. We'll add 27 to each side. We get 55. 11x equals 55. Divide by 11. And in this case, x equals 5. We're not done yet because we still need to figure out now what y equals. So I'm going to take what x equals and I'm going to plug it in to this equation here. So y equals 3 times, in this case 5, minus 9. 15 minus 9 is going to give us 6. So y equals 6. Moving on to the next page, you'll notice that both equations are not solved for x or for y. Now, you want to solve for whichever one's the easiest one to solve for. And if you notice in this first problem here, the x is by itself. And so it would be really easy to just add 2y to each side to solve this first equation for x. So that's what I'm going to do first. I've got x minus 2y equals negative 13. So I'm going to add 2y to each side. And when I do that, I've got my x alone. Now if you wanted to solve for y, you could solve for y as well. It doesn't matter. But right now, I have just rewritten this problem so that x is by itself. So now in this second equation right here, I'm going to substitute in what x equals. So instead of 4 times x, I'm going to do 4 times exactly what x equals, which is 2y minus 13. I'm going to copy the rest of the problem, the plus 4y and the equals 20. I'll distribute, which gives me 8y minus 52 plus 4y equaling 20. 8y plus 4y is going to give me 12y minus 52 equals 20. I'll add 52 to both sides. So 12y equals 72. Divide by 12, divide by 12. And 12 goes into 72 6 times. But I'm not done yet. This time I've solved for y and I'm still missing what my x equals. So once I've gotten that, I'll be done. So I'm going to take my y and I'm going to plug it in to any of the equations. This one here is probably the easiest because it's already solved for x. So I'm going to put x equals 2 times 6 minus 13. Well, 2 times 6 is 12, minus 13 is going to give me a negative 1. So x equals negative 1 and y equals 6. Moving on to the next page, we're going to look to see which equation would be easiest to solve for one of the variables. Looking in this second equation, you notice that the y is alone. So I'm going to rearrange that one to solve for y. In order to do that, all I'd have to do is subtract 4x from each side, and I would end up with y equaling negative 4x minus 20. Now that I've solved for y, I'm going to take that and plug it into the top equation. So we've got negative 4x minus 7. Now instead of writing our y, we're going to write the negative 4x minus 20, and that equals negative 4. So I've got my negative 4x. Now remember, in this case, we're distributing this negative 7. So negative 7 times negative 4x is going to give us a positive 28x. And negative 7 times negative 20 would give us a positive 140. So equaling negative 4. Negative 4x plus 28x is going to give us 24x plus 140 equaling negative 4. We'll subtract 140 from each side, which gives us 24x equaling negative 144. We'll divide by 24 on each side, and x is going to equal negative 6. But we're not done yet because we only have our x, and so we have to figure out what y equals in order to be done. So I'm going to take this x equals negative 6 and plug it in up here. So y is going to equal negative 4 times negative 6 minus 20. So y is going to equal 24 minus 20, or y would equal 4. Plug it in, and you are done. Getting all these text messages this morning because they're all wanting me to text them after I'm done with my surgery. Okay, so we're looking at this next one. We again want to figure out which one would be easiest to solve for. And in this case, since the x is alone, I'm going to solve that one for x. I'd have to, I'm going to write it up here, x minus 7y equals negative 11. I'd have to add 7y to each side. So I get x equals 7y minus 11. I'm going to take what x equals and I'm going to plug it in down here. So I've got negative 3 times 7y minus 11 plus 7y equals 5. We'll distribute, so negative 21y plus 33 plus 7y equals 5. Combine our like terms, so negative 14y plus 33 equals 5. We'll subtract 33 from each side. Negative 14y equals negative 28. We'll divide by negative 14, and y equals a positive 2. Again, we're not done yet. We still need to figure out what x equals. So I'm going to go back and plug it into this equation right here. So I'm going to say x is going to equal 7 times 2 minus 11. 7 times 2 is 14. Minus 11, we'd get x equals 3. The last page, we've got to look to see which variable would be easiest to solve for. In this case, I'm going to choose this one because the y is by itself. So I'd subtract 8x from each side. I get y equals negative 8x minus 21. So I'm going to take what y equals and plug it in up here. So I'm going to say 6x minus 3 times what our y equals, negative 8x minus 21, and equals 3. Remember, you're distributing a negative 3, so you've got 6x plus 24x plus 63 equals 3. This is going to give us 30x plus 63 equaling 3. Subtract 63, and 30x equals negative 60. Divide by 30, and x equals negative 2. We're not done yet. We still need to figure out what does y equal. So we'll plug it back in up here. Y is going to equal negative 8 times negative 2 minus 21. So y is going to equal a positive 16 minus 21. So y equals negative 5. Now, the one thing I want you to know is that what you get for your answers, like right here and right here, you should be able to plug back in to the original equations and it should work out. So those of you who check over your work, you can guarantee that you would have the correct answer. So I'll do it for this first example, but you can do it for all of them. So I'm going to take 6 times our x was -2 minus 3 times our y was -5, and that should equal 3. So we've got a -12 minus -15 or plus 15 equals 3, and it does check out, and that should be the case for all of them. Again, if you need to get a hold of me because there's something you're not understanding, use the Sullivan719 at Yahoo, because that goes straight to my phone and I should be able to get those messages answered as quickly as possible. And if you need to set up a day to FaceTime to ask some questions, just send me a message and let me know. Your test for L, you did the review earlier on in the week. Your L test is going to be next week, and you want to make sure you're ready. So go through that review, make sure that you understand everything. Even if you have questions on that, you can FaceTime me, ask me, email me. I will be able to get back to you as soon as possible to answer those questions. So I hope you are understanding these lessons as I record them, but let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have a good weekend, and I hope that I am feeling okay in a couple hours when I'm done with surgery. So have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.